research is in environmental microbiology. And so, a lot of times, like in that field, it's hard to land in a department where there's other people who are more environmentally focused and whose research meshes well with yours. So I always thought that ESF looked like a really interesting place to end up at. It was just really fortunate that this posting came up at ESF where they were looking for an environmental biochemist, and ESF just seemed like such a great fit because it was that really small, tight-knit environment. There was still going to be plenty of opportunity to do research and to do research with people who had similar research interests to me. I am the lecturer for Biochemistry 1, and then I also co-teach the Biochemistry lab with one of my colleagues here in the department. Our goal is to ultimately develop it into something that resembles an authentic research experience where it is going to be a more inquiry-driven course. My goal in any course that I teach is to get students to move beyond memorization of material and just kind of regurgitating facts, which is something that can happen in a lot of more biology-oriented classes where it's just this bunch of facts tossed at you. The approach that I've really taken to my teaching is sort of reflecting on the course and kind of reflecting on what are our major learning objectives and what is the minimal amount of content needed that allows us to fully address those learning objectives so that we can spend more time on each of those pieces of content and really develop an understanding of what those topics are all about. I'm an environmental microbiologist, and I've spent most of my career thinking about microorganisms in anthropogenically impacted sites. A lot of my focus has been on heavy metal stress in microorganisms and how heavy metal toxicity impacts the microorganisms that are out in our environment. Some people might be like, well, why do we care about the microorganisms in our environment, right? They're not things that are making us sick, so who cares if they're experiencing stress from pollutants. But the answer is we should really care because microorganisms are the key drivers of our global biogeochemical cycles. So our carbon cycles and our nitrogen cycles, which are so important for supporting life on this planet, are primarily driven by microbial activities. A big reason why I'm really passionate about still continuing to carry out my research and carry out a research program is because I do see research as a really powerful teaching tool. The undergraduate researchers that I have in my lab and who I work with, they're just very passionate about learning about science, and they're very passionate about the environment, and they're very passionate about their research. And they're also just extremely talented researchers. I would say there's a number of reasons why a student should want to come here. I think if you're interested in the environmental sciences or any of the adjacent fields, ESF is really the place in New York State and even within the region to come and study. I think another strength of ESF is its small size. So it really does feel very close-knit. We do have the smaller class sizes. We do have the opportunity to get to know the faculty really well. And then I think there's just the opportunity to be around really like-minded peers. They're also just really good, nice people as well. And I think that's the thing that's really stood out to me the most about the students is just how kind and supportive they are of each other. They show a lot of kindness and generosity and understanding towards each other. I think if that's the kind of environment and I think for a lot of people that should be the kind of environment you want to come work in, I think ESF is really the place to be surrounded by, peers who are kind and generous, but also really passionate about learning and passionate about learning in this specific area.